What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Gridiron, your Apollo HOU Houston Texans podcast, live from officially Super Bowl's done.
It's done.
It's over. The season is finished. And now it's officially the 2025 offseason. Everyone is back on the same level. 0-0. Everyone's ready to attack 2025, including our own Houston Texans. Garrett, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man? We're back.
We're
We
back.
are back.
Yes.
It got kind of crazy at the end of the year with the scheduling and all that,
Yeah.
and we weren't able to talk about Chargers when preview for the Chiefs game. Like we wanted to talk about that shit after.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah,
get
I
to
didn't
talk
want
about
to.
it
Yeah.
after, and then after that it was just curtains, and we called. We went to Cancun.
Yep.
Sat on the beach, had a few mai tais.
Yeah, we went
hung
down to the
out.
Pro Bowl first, fucked around there, hung out, and then we went to Cancun.
Did you watch the Pro Bowl?
I didn't watch any of it. I didn't see a
No,
second.
I actually forgot that it was happening. When it
Yeah,
was
I did
happening.
too. I did too.
Why is it on during the day? That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. And also, I only the only thing I ever the only stuff I saw from it was on social media, and I saw like I don't know. I saw like fucking they were using like Hulk hands to catch balls and stuff. It was just like what is this?
At what point does the Pro Bowl become too fun?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we're making a mockery of these
Right.
athletes,
These men.
not
These
even
warriors.
men amongst men.
These gladiators are
Like,
modern day.
Barely anyone in this world can do what Jamar Chase does. Why are we making them wear Hulk hands and running around and like how about
Treating
just
him.
no more Pro Bowl, no more Pro Bowl. No more
Yeah,
Pro Bowl.
like, or here's the deal. Hot take. Look, suit them motherfuckers up again. Like, let's
Well,
play ball, baby. Like, come
well,
on.
yeah. I mean, that's why I'm just like, okay, let's just get rid of it entirely because I hate the flag football shit. I think it's too cutesy. It's too dumb. I don't really care. The score was like 70-60, and when you look on ESPN, they don't even keep track of stats because they can't. It's impossible because
Yeah.
they move around. They do like different field positioning. It's
Yeah.
it's totally weird.
Yeah.
And they don't show you like the scoring summary because it's totally weird and no one cares and it doesn't matter. So
Look, man.
let's just get rid of it entirely because also I don't want my guys running around in the off season getting hurt, getting beat up. You watch like imagine if Daniil Hunter was running around in pads, slipped, non-contact, he's out for 2025. That would be a nightmare. So
yeah,
I think just get rid of it entirely. We don't need it. We don't need it anymore. No one cares about it. It's not in Hawaii anymore. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
not in Hawaii. That's
Yeah.
why no one wants to go.
Yeah.
No one
Well,
wants to
here's
go
my
there.
thing. I think this should be the rule. The Pro Bowl should still be a thing, but what should happen is it shouldn't be the best of the best players, right? It should be anybody who just wants to play one more real football game.
Oh, you know what? You're onto something.
Yeah, like
You know?
it should be like I don't care if it's the backup center for the Titans or whoever it is, but like let's get some guys who go, yeah, fuck it, I'll go play some ball, and
Yeah.
then let them play, and then we all get one like fun football game at the end of the year.
You know whose ass would be there? Like, because also you also use this, or players would utilize that scheme and process as like I didn't get much playing time. I got to show like it's my like fifth
It's like a last
preseason.
tryout,
It's my
yeah.
epilogue. It's my preseason epilogue. It's postseason stuff. I gotta get out there and show what I'm worth. I would fucking see John Mechie out there. Didn't get that. I mean, he got playing time, but didn't use it to his
Oh no,
full
he definitely got a
advantage.
lot of playing time.
Yeah, well, he didn't use
He
it
got
to
a
his full
ton of it.
advantage. So I use it as redemption, man. Get out
Yeah.
there and fucking 200 yards.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I mean honestly, if that was a real scenario, every receiver on our team aside from Nico Collins should be playing at that
Absolutely.
event.
And the
Like,
offensive lineman.
Xavier Hutchinson needs to be there. John Mechie needs to be there. Juice Scruggs should be knocking on the door first. He should arrive at the very beginning.
Dalton Schultz should be the very first one arriving and the last one leaving out of the facility.
Bro, just a lunch pail guy, first one in, last guy out at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I should see his ass first thing in the morning there, working out. Last one leaving when lights out. He's closing down, dude.
Yeah. No,
That's what I need to see.
That would be nice. I think I think it should just be for whoever wants it, because I do miss like having that one last game of the year. Like, even though it doesn't mean anything, I just miss watching one last game of football before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And now we don't get it. Now we get Hulk hands and flags and now I will say the one thing I saw from the Pro Bowl, and we'll stop talking about the Pro Bowl, but the one thing I saw from the Pro Bowl that I did think was electric was the punter competition, where they had to like punt it like 50 yards and try to land it in certain spots. That was fun to watch.
That's cool. And it also, we don't really think about, obviously, as a league as a whole, we don't think about punters a lot, casuals. Right. The casuals can see that and be like, oh, dude, punters actually, they have a skill set. They don't just kick the shit out of the ball. Oh, wow. You know, it's good for the casuals. Pro Bowl is for casuals.
Dang. Yeah, that's true.
It's just for casuals, man. I mean, that's cool if you're a casual.
Well, it makes sense it's for casuals because they're like people who know, just know base level NFL stuff. They're like, oh my God, it's all the most famous players in one game.
They're like,
I know him, his girlfriend's Taylor Swift, and I know him, he's dating Haley Steinfeld. It's like,
it's people that are like, can you imagine if that team was real? It's like, I guess, yeah. I
don't know. If that team was real, we'd have to simply shut down the league. We would have to there would be a finished league. It would.
So, also, who cares? You live in fantasy land. I'm in real life where
Can you imagine if the Texans had Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill and Joe Burrow and Travis Kelce? And
that's also one of my favorite things after the Pro Bowl is that you'll see like Jamar Chase like talking to like Joe Mixon or something, and it's like they're like former teammates, they're buddies. People were like, "Oh, dude, Jamar Chase getting recruited by Joe Mixon going to the Texans." I'm like, no, he's not. They're just fucking chopping it up. They're not talking about business at all. They're probably just like, so what are you gonna do? What are you going this? Where are you going this summer, dude?
Well, it always it was like last year when Jamar Chase caught that crazy touchdown from CJ Stroud in the flag football game, and then Jamar was like, "Man, I'd love to play with CJ," and everyone was like, "Taking shots at Joe." It's like,
he just was like, he's like, yeah, that's a cool guy. That'd be cool.
That's a good quarterback. That'd be cool.
He's like,
catch balls from
he's like, I'm perfectly okay with my quarterback.
Trust me, my quarterback threw for 5,1700 yards this year and 47 touchdowns or whatever it was. I saw Joe Burrow on the Pardon My Take pod doing an interview, and he was like, I think I could have done better. And Big Cat goes, so what? You want to throw for 7,000 yards?
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? Like,
what do you?
You had one of the better seasons a quarterback could possisly have without making the playoffs.
Yeah,
maybe
he was like, "There's a lot I could have done better." It's like, there's not. What the fuck are you talking about?
Real quick, let's talk a little Super Bowl, just a little Super Bowl. Because it is important. I guess I don't care. I mean, well, it is important because the devil died.
Yeah,
maybe he didn't die. He might be back, but he was vanquished. He was defeated.
He was sent back down to hell
for a bit. Yeah. Before we have to deal with him again. Before someone opens another portal.
Yeah. Next September is going to be a portal that opens up on the ground in Kansas City, Missouri, and he's going to come out of it.
And it's going to be probably Sunday night, week 1 against probably fucking us or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But hey, good on the Eagles.
Yeah.
Congrats to the Eagles. I'm wearing green right now. I didn't even realize that.
Nice.
But
big Eagles guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, after Super Bowl, that was awesome.
It was nice.
Cool. It was cool seeing it was really cool seeing Charles Omenihu cry.
Yo, that made me so happy.
That was awesome. Yeah, I loved when he was crying. That was like a little bitch baby.
Like a little baby boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he such a bitch, dude? Like, why did he start talking so much shit?
I think maybe he was talking about how shitty our front office was when he was here, which... Hey, yeah, it was. Hey,
yeah,
you're right about that. It was, but
it was just he's from Houston. Like he grew up in Houston, so maybe he grew up one of those kids that we went to high school with that was like, "Nah, I'm a Cowboys fan." It's like, why you've been?
I hate the Texans.
Yeah, why? Why? You're from Houston? Like, what reason do you have other than to be an asshole? Like maybe he was like that, and so then it just went into his adult life, but. I don't know.
Maybe that's good. And then now he's like on the Chiefs, a winning team, which a lot of those people in high school were really like, oh, I love the Patriots.
Love the Patriots.
Yeah,
I'm a Patriots fan. I've been a Patriots fan since 1970, dude. Don't even talk.
I've been a Patriots fan since I was a kid. I remember I was watching the Super Bowl when I was 2.
Yeah,
I remember we had a Super Bowl party and everything.
Yeah,
he's probably now he's on the Chiefs and he's like, I don't fuck with the Texans. I hate them. Which we love. It's funny because I always saw Omenihu after before that, and when he was in the Chiefs, when he was on the Niners and the Chiefs, and I was like, hey, Charles, let's go, Omenihu. I love that guy. And
Yeah.
I saw the interview of him talking shit, and I was like,
Yeah, I can't wait to play them boys or whatever. I was like, bro.
yeah, I was like, I was looking forward to playing you in a different way. I was good to see you, Charles. Fuck
Yeah.
face. I thought it was all love.
Yeah.
But it was
I
cool
did too.
watching him cry. It was cool watching Chris Jones collapse to the ground. It was.
Isn't it kind of weird how many former Texans were on that Chiefs team? It is kind of weird to think about. Omenihu, Justin Reed, DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins,
I'm
all
sure
these guys from that era, that 2018, maybe even 2018 to 2020 era, where we were like excited about the Texans. And yeah, they just took a bunch of our guys and hey, you know what? And guess what? You couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of shit going on. A lot of I don't know. We were the Texans. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
it was, and also, hey, one quick hitter about the Super Bowl. Now the Chiefs fans know what it felt like. Now they know what it feels like when your quarterback is pressured constantly and can't do anything, and no one around him has effort.
No.
Like the tight ends, like the videos of Travis Kelce just not doing anything and
Yeah.
letting free runners go by him and like just kill his
The Dalton
quarterback.
Schultz experience.
Yeah, now you know. He was playing like Dalton Schultz, and Chiefs fans were like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "That's what we were dealing with, and you were making fun of us, dude."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and no zebras to save them. The refs just did not. They didn't. And now a lot of people are like, "See, they don't do that." I'm like, "Well, here's the deal. They did it every game this year up until that point. Maybe
I
on the
think-
biggest stage, they were scared to throw those flags, but."
Dude, I think the refs were like, they took that personally. They're like, no, we don't favor the Chiefs. In fact, watch this. Like,
Yeah.
they just kind of
Watch this.
favor the Eagles.
We're gonna watch Patrick Mahomes get fucking brutally murdered and not even do anything about it. It
Yeah,
was
like
crazy, dude. Every time his back foot hit the ground, 3 Eagles were just on top of him.
they didn't blitz once.
I know. It was 4 rushers the entire time.
Vic Fangio had maybe one of the best defensive masterclasses I've ever seen in a big game. Like that was impressive.
Yeah, and then and the Dolphins just last season going, "You're old, you're washed, you can't do this anymore." Fucking idiots, dude. The Dolphins should really, we don't talk about this enough. They're in the running for one of the worst franchises in the NFL.
Oh, I mean, well, they got a bunch of, they don't have a culture down there in South Beach. They just have like a bunch of good players with like, let's just get a bunch of good players in a room and tell them to go run around and catch the ball.
Yeah.
And then when you have no culture, it's like you have Tyreek basically pulling himself out of the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And publicly saying, well, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. And then you have like all the Dolphins players talking shit on Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, who goes to the Eagles, and he's like, "Oh wow, there's an actual culture here. Let's make something happen." And then they made something happen.
Yeah, and he just goes and calls maybe the best defensive performance I've ever seen in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know the Dolphins players are watching that like, oh.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we were wrong. Oh,
maybe I should have had more effort. Oh.
Yeah, right. Well, apparently their culture is just terrible. Like you mentioned, I mean, Tyreek doing all that. Guys were showing up late. Mike McDaniel apparently had a really rough time getting guys to be on time this season. And it's just terrible.
That's what happens when you're a coordinator as a head coach, which we'll talk about coordinators coming up. Good segue.
Yes. Well, let's look at the chat. We got a few people in here. We got Brandon Hallam. What's up, man? He says, let me go through. It says, need a OT and guard in round 1 and another guard in round 2. Oh man. All right. That's bold.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into that. 610 host said that they only saw a Texans player cry this year and that no Chiefs players cried this year. So that's simply untrue. I've seen a Chiefs player cry a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And also, what 610 host said that? Because fuck them. Because the Texans players that cried were C.J. Stroud after Tank Dell got his leg ripped
after his best friend got his shit ripped up on the field. So, and people criticizing him or crying. I would cry.
Yeah, of course.
Shit sucks.
Brandon says that's what happens when you hire a Chiefs fan from Kansas City for the local radio Houston stations. All right. Guess so. Kush, what up, Kush? Says, Omenihu's such a tryhard. Yeah, and you know what sucks when you try hard and you're still not good at football?
Damn.
That sucks.
Double damn. Triple damn.
Ryan Draper said that was the time to win. I think he was talking about the Chiefs game. They got bullied into calling a good game. They're talking about the refs. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
Also,
Well,
yeah,
let's get into this first before we get into our Texans wish list for the 2025 offseason, some things we'd love to see happen. Today, right actually before we went live, Nick Caley, new offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, former passing game coordinator and tight ends coach from the Los Angeles Rams, did his introductory press conference over at NRG.
yes.
And it was him and D'Amico out there, and it was look, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. We've seen some really fun press conferences. I mean, I think of D'Amico's introductory press conference was a lot of fun with all the former players showing up, stuff like that. This one was a little more normal. This one was just kind of by the numbers. Hey, this is our new guy. Introduce yourself. Blah 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 to the media. But I don't know. He seems really cool. He's a young guy, which I love.
There's a few things that stood out to me
Yeah.
about that presser. I didn't get to watch the whole thing; it was 30 minutes long. But I saw on Twitter one of the things that Nick Caley said that everyone's in love with. I'm in love with. He was basically to summarize it. He basically said it's not about my scheme and what I can do and what I can draw up. It's about what the players' strengths are. It's about drawing up what the players, drawing up schemes to accommodate what the players can do.
Yeah.
Which he was like, I don't want to fit, a square peg in a round hole.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Love that. Obviously, last year we had a lot of play calls that maybe didn't go with what we should have been doing.
Yeah.
Very like ended up in third and long in every situation was like, well, maybe we're just not playing up to our players' strengths. Maybe we're
Yeah.
not being player friendly. We're trying to make the players do something that they can't do
Yeah.
in this scheme, like physically can't do. So that stood out to me. And also one thing physically that stood out to me about Nick Caley, like he doesn't have a coordinator face.
No,
It's
he's got a strong jaw, dude. He's got a head coach face.
strong jaw, that and like strong demeanor.
Yeah.
That's a head coach face right there.
Yeah.
Head
Yeah.
coach face right there. That
I'm
might be a
trying-
future coach. That might
I'm
be a
trying
future
to not get too attached to him because I
Mm.
think he's going to come in and have a really good season, and we'll need a new OC in 2026, which is obviously great. If that's the case, that's amazing. But I really, he just has his background, his experience, everything leads to him having a really good year here and then getting some head coaching offers. Obviously, we went through that with Slowick. We didn't want him to leave. In retrospect, that would have been beautiful. If like the fucking Titans hired him or something, and we had to get a new OC last year.
It's extremely telling that he had multiple interviews to be a head coach and didn't land any of them. It's
No.
very telling. Very telling.
Yeah, and he was like, "We're gonna run it back," and I was like, "No one offered you shit." That's what it was.
We were excited though.
Yeah, we were
"Yeah,
like, "Oh, dude, our guy's sought after," and then he ripped my heart out in 2025. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I like his demeanor. I think he has a good presence, and I love what he says about fitting a square peg in a round hole. I mean, I think that's amazing. I mean, specifically, I feel like you look at the offensive line a little bit. I think the guys that we have on the offensive line, look, as much as we want to draft new guys, and we'll get into that in a minute, a lot of them are under contract. Shaq Mason is getting a lot of money from us. Titus Howard getting a lot of money from us. Juice Scruggs is a guy who deserves, I think, to be a part of the offensive line. I think Jarrett Patterson deserves to compete for a role. Obviously, we're going to bring in some new guys, but I think overall the offensive line is going to look a lot similar in 2025 that it did in 2024. So really, I hope not. But it's. There's been clips of Caserio talking about how our offensive line is a lot of our guys are under contract, so we have that set. Like he's mentioned that. So obviously there will be there's going to be a new name somewhere in there, which will be nice. But overall, I think it's going to be a lot of the same guys. But now, which is risky, but if Nick Caley can come in and figure out a scheme that works for them to the best of their abilities, and look, anything is an upgrade over last year. Anything.
Yeah, I mean, we were a bottom 10 offense.
Yeah.
We were a bottom 10 offense going head to head against the 1 seed and making it work. We were like CJ was making throws. We made it a close game. Like we are simply just going to get better this year, and we already have. I think Caley is an upgrade. I think Cole Popovich is an upgrade over our old offensive line coach because apparently he was already out the door, or he had a foot out the door.
He was like thinking about retiring or something before the season.
So,
But
and
yeah,
now
Cole Popovich is a good name. Obviously, he was already on the staff as an assistant offensive line coach. So that's a little. I mean, if you look at it on paper, it's a little worrisome just because. Okay, well, why didn't he make decisions last year or give his input? But maybe he wasn't being listened to, or he just didn't have the power to totally do what he wanted to do.
Nick Cayley's decided to keep him. So
yeah.
Obviously, Nick Cayley sees something in him. Who
he said he has a lot of respect for him. Nick Cayley has a lot of respect for Popovich. So, that'll be exciting. But and also the main thing about Nick Cayley is we've been talking about Dalton Schultz.
He also said is obviously tight ends coach. He's worked with Gronkowski. He's worked with the tight ends over there in LA who they're, no big names, but they get to work. They're physical. He said in the presser, like kind of went into it. He's like, I love tight ends. Pause. I love tight ends. So that means I guess we'll put, all of our tight ends on a catapult and launch them out of Houston. I don't know.
Well,
it's something to address.
I mean, a lot of people are going to say, well, what's Nick Cayley going to do with Dalton Schultz, right? One thing that I'm looking forward to the most is Nick Cayley getting his hands on Brevin Jordan. I truly believe, and I know the Texans feel this way too, because they extended him after a season-ending injury. They gave him another year. There's something with Brevin Jordan. He can play. Like, we've seen him make some huge plays for us. And there's something there. And I really, really think 2025, I mean, it's got to be for Brevin. If he doesn't do anything in 2025, then he's out the door. But I think Brevin Jordan can really make a name for himself in 2025. And I hope Nick Cayley helps him do that as long as, Brevin's healthy. That's what I'm excited about. And obviously, if Nick can help Dalton Schultz get back to what he was even a little bit, that would be nice because he's expensive and he's buying cars and with the Houston Texans money, and I think that should be a crime.
When the cop pulled him over, I was like, he's finally. You texted it. You're like, he's finally going to jail. I think
his reign of terror is over. The cops have finally found him.
The terrorism must stop.
Yes,
it must stop here.
Yes, the terrorist was driving a BMW down 45.
But I fully think that Dalton Schultz will be on the Texans in 2025. Just because we are paying him, and he wasn't bad in 2023. He did a lot of good things, way better than he was this past season.
600-something yards, a few touchdowns. It was nice.
Now, I mean, we obviously need some kind of physical blocking tight end because we didn't have that last year. Cade Stover got annihilated every time he was one-on-one. Dalton Schultz didn't even try to block when he was on one-on-one. So we need to address that in some way because Nick Cayley, who who coached Rob Gronkowski, who was ranked as a top 5 tight end one year, also being a top 5 offensive tackle in the same year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He loves his guys to block. He loves his guys to be physical. Everyone in LA was blocking, physical. Cooper Kupp was a blocker. Everyone was blocking, doing their job. He loves physicality. The tight ends aren't physical, so they're gonna have to be addressed in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Draft.
Well, and one thing you mentioned Stover real quick. There's an interesting stat that Cody Stutes has brought up. Shout out Cody, been on the show. He brought this up. If you look at advanced statistics, because it's a pretty specific stat. Cade Stover had a 100% success rate on run blocking this year.
You know what? That's our fullback. That's our fullback?
Yeah.
Convert him into a fullback because he wasn't really utilized in the passing game that much. I don't know if it was our decision to do that or it was just lack. He wasn't ready to do that yet. I don't know the film, but how about just make him our fullback then? Line him up in the backfield with he's fast. Yeah. He can run. He's a tight end. He can run. He's a unit. He's a tight end.
Right.
Let's just convert him into our fullback because we're going to need a fullback.
Yeah, I would like to have a good fullback. We didn't really have one this year. We didn't have one this year at all. We didn't use a fullback. No. I mean, not really. Andrew Beck was, I guess, on the roster at times. He's on the practice squad, but we were making him a tight end and shit. I'm
pretty sure Cade Stover was lining
playing
up as a fullback a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he was
which
too.
just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Don't use him as our tight end 2 anymore because we'll have Brevin or
Brevins.
someone
Oh
else.
God, I'm so excited for Brevins 2025. I'm that's like my earliest like prediction for the Texans season next year is that Brevin Jordan has his best year of his career.
I hope
That's
you're
what.
right. I hope
Yeah,
you're right. Or I hope we draft like Gunnar Helm or something like that.
yeah,
Which
Gunner would be nice. I'm we'll get into it in a minute. I kind of have a breakdown of what I think the Texans should do in the draft, but Gunner is not someone who I feel like is a priority early in the rounds where Gunner would go. But if they pull the trigger on that, I wouldn't mind at all. But Nick Caley, press conference, looked fun. He seems like a cool guy. I'm excited to
great
see what
jaw,
he does.
great jaw, handsome guy. Gonna
Yes.
be head coach one day probably because
Way cooler than Bobby Slowick.
yeah, well,
Bobby Slowick's a
Bobby
fucking
Slowick
nerd.
had severe coordinator face.
Yeah.
Severe coordinator face, stupid white nerd face.
He also had severe analytics face.
Yeah,
He had PFF face.
maybe that's because it seems he does have PFF face.
Yeah.
Because he worked for PFF.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe that's why him and D'Amico didn't really mesh because D'Amico is like hard nosed, played linebacker right here,
Real football man. Yeah.
real football guy. He needs a football guy in there who is also smart, and it's like, hey, we gotta get the juice on. No more analytics. Let's just go play ball, and that's gonna be Nick Caley. Can't wait to see him, man. I wish I could reach over there and touch him, Nick.
Yeah, you can. You can point,
This
but you
area.
can rub D'Amico's head if you want.
Yeah, like a little
Yeah.
8-ball. Wish
Like
you can.
it's like you're making pottery,
Oh yeah, or like a crystal ball.
Like
Ooh.
like Patrick Swayze and Ghost. Just get to
Good
it.
movie. Good
Yeah.
movie.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump into
Sorry, go ahead.
let's jump into Garrett and I definitely have some thoughts on what the Texans should be doing in the 2025 offseason. And we're gonna go through and Garrett, I want you to start out. Let's start out in free agency. I want to hear, it doesn't even have to be a specific name if you don't have someone in mind, but what's some like a position group, a certain, like positions that you think the Texans specifically in free agency would be better off focusing on?
So, if it's not the draft, which I just don't, I don't really want to depend on the draft to be able to do this. We really need to try to find some guys who can play interior offensive line better than our guys. We need to try. We really need to try to structure that because our tackles are set. Laramie's going to be a Texan.
Yeah.
Titus is being paid still, and he's still going to be a Texan. We have Blake Fisher as a tackle. We drafted in the second round last year. We have to address interior offensive line because they're ass. So there's a few guys that I was looking at. Maybe I don't know their names. There's a center from the Falcons who underrated name, doesn't have to be expensive, had a great year last year. The Falcons' offensive line was solid last year, or their center. This particular guy, Drew Bauman?
Bauman? I don't know. I haven't heard of it.
Chat, is it Drew Bauman?
Chat, please help.
Yeah, on Instagram, please help. Yeah, but that's who I just want. We got our playmakers last year. We got our playmakers, like we got Daniil Hunter, we got Stephon last year. We got our playmakers. We just need to don't get the flashy shit. Don't try to get the sports cars and all that. Let's just get a Toyota, okay?
A reliable.
Yes, let's get a 4Runner, man. Let's just one that's gonna keep us going for a while. It's gonna be reliable. It's gonna be inexpensive, but it's gonna be Drew Dalman. Thank you so much. Something no more sports cars. Something reliable, a Subi, perhaps. Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I think you can get a sports car. But I think you can also go shopping for your let's say you're in your 50s, you got some money in the bank, you want a sports car, but also your kid is turning 16, and they need something reliable. They need a car that you need to get for them, and you're not going to get them anything flashy, but it's for the youngin' to help them get to where they need to be down the line, right? So you grab the Toyota, which might be this Drew Dalman from the Falcons. Look, I mean, I know a lot of Texans fans. Speaking of free agency guards, they're looking at Trey Smith from the Chiefs. You got to get that out of your head. That ain't happening. He's going to get paid so much money. I'm looking at on Spotrac right now. His market value of what he's projected to get this offseason is 4 years, $78 million. You're looking at almost $20 million a year.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we didn't even want to pay Saquon, or
Yeah,
we probably
yeah.
picked the Eagles, but we there was a lot of guys like Christian
Yeah.
Wilkins. We weren't gonna pay that.
He's
We're not gonna pay a guard $70 million to maybe suck on our team.
Yeah, right. Because also Casario has shot himself in the foot with some of his contracts for guards and tackles like Titus and specifically Shaq Mason. So
Yeah.
I don't. That's not going to happen. But there are a lot of options out there. So I do. I think the Texans will grab a guard or just any interior offensive lineman in free agency. I'm with you on that. I really hope they do. I also think. I think the Texans will do that. I think we focus on defensive tackle in free agency, and I don't know if that means bringing back Foley Fatukasi or any of the guys we've had because most of them are on 1-year deals. I would love to bring back Foley. I think he was really good this year. I think he offered a lot whenever he was able to play. We got Danico Audrey for another year. Mario Edwards, I would like to see come back, but also you can replace those guys in the draft. So if you want to bring back some of the guys that were on the team last year that contributed, I would like that. But for defensive interior, I think you look towards the draft. So in free agency, I think you aim to get interior offensive linemen and you go grab a wide receiver.
Who are free agent wide receivers? I don't
He
even
might
know.
not be a free agent per se, but guys who are available via trade. I think
Yeah,
I think Cooper Kupp makes a whole lot of sense. And
Cooper. I mean, if they take some of the salary, we've talked about this, you
Yeah,
and I personally. If they take some of the salary, sure. He just hasn't played a full season since 21.
yes,
That's tough. That's weird to me.
he'll be
And
cheap.
also, yeah, he'll be cheap. And if we just send like a sturdy fourth rounder
That's
over
what
there,
I'm saying. I don't think it's going to cost much more than a fourth.
yeah,
And Nick Haley obviously has a relationship with him. I think it would be a smart move. Also, I understand that he only played 12. He played 12 games last year. He's banged up. He's 31. But last year he had 710 yards and 6 touchdowns in 12 games.
yeah. I mean,
When
he
he's
had
on
for
the
the games.
field, he's
Yeah,
producing.
yeah, and Nick Haley's system, passing game coordinator for the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah, he cooked. He was
Mhm.
cooking.
Also,
He got guys open. He got them. They were open constantly, which
yeah.
that's something that the Texans kind of struggled with last year. There weren't guys open.
And
But
this is a little less important, I guess, but also CJ Stroud's talking about his favorite quarterback to watch is Matt Stafford.
mhm.
And a guy that he emulates his game after. So obviously, I talked about this in the video I made a couple days ago, but obviously, Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp have worked very well together. So if CJ Stroud can play anything or be the Matt Stafford for Cooper Kupp in Houston, then it would be golden as long as he can stay healthy. And I think he can. I think look, I think he's going to miss a couple games. But I think at best case scenario, he's available for 15 games, which
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine with me. If we throw a fourth rounder, that's
I-
fine with me.
I want my receivers to be healthy. I wouldn't
I do
want
too,
that
man.
last.
But I
last
do too. But
fucking bullshit.
this is why that's not the only move we make at receiver, because I don't want to have Cooper Kupp and then the next guy up be John Mechie or Xavier Hutchinson. Bless his heart. I love Xavier. I think he's probably.
Signed Tutu Atwell.
I'm not opposed. I'm not
I'm
opposed. I don't
honestly.
know why you said that to me like that, but I'm not opposed to that. But I think you trade Cooper, and then I think you go get a receiver in the first round of the draft.
Oh, that's a lot of fucking chips you're putting on receivers, buddy.
Gotta have it. We gotta have it. Yes. We brother, we have nothing in the receiver room other than Nico Collins.
I know. It just but the thing is we've used resources to get those receivers. We're going to use more and more receivers. Like I just want to go the cheaper route, guys who can fit with CJ and also Nick Haley, and we know we can. We have a clear vision what we know we can do. Bobby
That's
Slowick. It's very
expensive.
obvious. It's very obvious. Bobby Slowick had no idea how to do 3 receiver sets with Tank, Stephon, and Nico. It's
Well,
just
guys, he's in Miami. I don't give a fuck what he wants to do.
I
don't
know,
care.
but I'm just saying, like, for me, it's one or the other. Trade for Cooper and then get someone else in the first round, or if you're gonna get someone in the first round, maybe a Mecca falls to us, and like that would be perfect. I think that would be the most perfect first round receiver we can get. And
Look,
at that,
I get it. I get that it seems like a lot. I really do. But one,
yeah,
especially if we get Cooper, if we get
now.
Cooper for a 4th round and LA works with us on the contract, it's not that expensive. And then obviously, if you grab one of those first round guys, you're not paying them a lot of. They're not expensive at all. Now, I mean, you're using a first round pick. I understand that, but what else are you going to use a first round pick for? The guard,
Okay.
the guard class is deep. The running back class is deep. Like,
Let me ask you this. If Tyler Booker falls to us at 25, are you taking a receiver over him?
yeah, because Tyler Booker has
What?
been falling down to mid-second round. His
He's
draft stock is falling.
he's gonna be a first rounder.
His draft stock's falling a lot, dude.
Well, that's
Like
good. That's
a
good
lot
for
of
us.
people. But okay, then we can grab him in the second, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
dude. But here's the deal: Tyler Booker is probably great, but the thing is there's a lot of guards in this draft, and we can get guys. I don't want to spend another first round pick on a guard. We did that already. It did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean,
Dude,
yeah.
if you had to grade the Gideon Green pick, it's an F.
Sure.
Minus.
Sure. Sure.
Casario does not know. I don't know what his problem is, but he does not know what he's doing with offensive linemen. It's simple. And so don't put a lot of resources into that. I just don't. Like, I put resources, put a second round pick that's a high pick. But what you need to do is Nico Collins was on FS1 the other day talking to Nick Wright and his gang of hooligans, and like, that show sucks. The show's awful. But the thing is, Nico was talking. They asked him. They said after Stephon goes down and after Tank went down, how was that on you? And Nico was like, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my football career. We have to bolster that room. We have to. And I would love a Tutu Atwell. I'd love these guys who maybe wait till a little later. Their market's not huge. We get them in August. We get them in July. We get them later in free agency. I'm with that. But if you can go grab Cooper Kupp for a 4th round pick, and you can grab Emeka Egbuka, or you can grab Matthew Golden, or you can grab one of these top receivers in the draft that are going to be available around 25, you got to fill that room up. Because what we're not going to do is sit here with John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson and maybe grab Tutu Atwell and be like, all right, CJ, go have fun. No, we're not doing that.
I would really like a Mecca in the first round.
Me too.
He kind of reminds me of Cooper Kupp already. Tough guy, high football IQ, and just always gets open. And he's just, he's a chain mover. I think that'd be perfect in our system. And obviously the connection with CJ and him. So I would be all in for that. Maybe as the draft season approaches, or the draft rather, because it is draft season.
Yeah.
As it approaches, we got to get through combine, pro days, interviews, and all that, and then we'll have a clearer vision of what maybe we, us podcast guys want.
Yeah.
Guys with mics, what we want. As it stands right now, last year I felt like getting Stephon, and then we had Tank. There was so much hype behind the receivers. That hype was that immediately fell through. And I just don't want to do that again. Maybe we get the underrated Moneyball guys, the Moneyball guys. But guys that we know, that guys Nick Cayley and both Nicks need to get in the lab and figure it out, because I mean, like you said last year, it was tough to watch.
When Tank went down, it was and Nico is so incredible that he still managed to put up good numbers when he was the only threat at receiver. All respect to the other guys in that room. He was the only playmaker on the field. And he was still putting up 80, 100, 120 one-touchdown games. Like, he was still incredible.
Yeah.
But you have to help him. And I know that Texans fans might be a little gun-shy about it after what happened with Stephon and seeing what's going on with Tank. I get it. I get maybe don't, but you can't let that deter you from getting CJ Stroud his weapons because we have to make the most of his time here. And I think Cooper Kupp, a receiver in the first round, I mean, fucking golden. And I because then if Cooper misses a few games, then you got this young guy getting very pivotal snaps. And if it's Amika, if it's Matthew Golden, Alec Ionomar from Stanford is a beast.
I don't even know who that is.
Dude, you got to go watch this tape after we're done.
Okay.
He's kind of like Nico. And he's a guy who's mocked late first round, early second. And the receivers are going to go in this draft. Honestly, every mock draft I've done, by the time we get to 25, Amika's not available, Matthew Golden's not available, it's going to be tough. Obviously, the guy's going up higher.
Doing the PFF simulator is weird.
It is. It's
weird. They don't know, and there's no trades, and it's just obviously not accurate. But it's far from accurate, in my opinion, because it's also like I'll get Gunnar Helm in the second or third. Yeah. And they'll call it a D-, and I'm like, he's going in the second or third.
Yeah,
It's not a bad pick at all. They're weird already.
Yeah.
With a bunch of nerds over there. Yeah. So a bunch of fucking nerds.
No, but I think that's the move. And also I want to touch on this real quick. DQ the red key Don. Hell yeah. Said, sounds crazy, but what about DK Metcalf on the other side of Nico Collins? Dude, I mean, I would
You're gonna make this guy cream. You're gonna make this guy cream in his jeans, dude.
Yeah, that's my biggest wish. Well, actually, my biggest wish is somehow pulling off a trade for Garrett Wilson. I just don't think it's possible. But DK is very possible. The Seahawks are ready to move on from him. They just have a lot of guys to pay. They're not going to pay DK again. They have Kenneth Walker to pay. They got their defensive young guys. Their names are I'm blanking on their names right now. Is it Tariq Woolen? Is that who I'm thinking about?
Tariq Woolen, yeah.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen's going to get paid. He's a dog. Like, they have a lot of young guys that they need to pay, and JSN had his breakout year. So they don't really particularly need DK anymore. And also, it hasn't worked great. DK and Gino don't have a good connection. They just don't. It's fine. But, I mean, DK had 992 yards this season, few touchdowns. Lower for him. So they're ready to make that move. I don't think he'd be that expensive. I genuinely believe you could probably get him out of Seattle for a second rounder. And I don't know. It would be huge. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, because he's going to want to get paid. That's his thing. He's going to want to get a contract. And we have a lot of guys coming up that need to make money. So we'll see. I don't know if Casario's down for that. But I just imagine DK and Nico as your 1 and 2. And that's freak shit.
Well, one more thing because I did forget this. We need to pay Derek Stingley.
Yeah,
We need to pay him everything. We need to pay him everything. We need to give him. He's going to be the highest paid corner ever after this offseason. Hopefully, we need to make it happen because he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And he wants to be here. He's already said on that podcast. He's like, I want to be a Texan for the rest of my life. Yep. So. Make that happen this offseason. That should be the first thing we do this offseason.
I agree.
Extend Derek Stingley. Yeah.
And my favorite thing that Sting said in that podcast was not only that he wants to be a Texan for life, because that's amazing to hear, but also that he was like, I saw what Nico did when he was waiting for his contract. He was like, I'm not going to hold out. I want to be in the building at OTAs. I'm going to be, because I want this team to, he's like, I want this team to win. I want us to be, and I'm like, God, he's perfect.
And that's the culture we have here.
Yeah.
Good bunch of guys who want to win. Mm-hmm. Take notes, Miami.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I totally agree. Give him a blank check. But my main thing about this offseason as a whole is,
Henry Toto's in the chat. Shout out Henry.
What up, Henry? How we doing?
He just joined.
Shout out Henry. Love Henry. Think he's going to be a pivotal part of this team going forward. And I
met him the other night. Met him the other night at a wrestling event. Yeah, nicest guy. Him and Xavier, nice fellas. Yes, sir.
Nice. But I just think this offseason wide receiver is going to be something that they should focus on. And I know they're a little gun shy. I don't blame them for being like, well, we traded for Stephon. He tore his ACL. That's no fun. But the thing is, you just have to get CJ his guys. And the defense is set, other than like maybe defensive tackle, which I do think will attack in the draft and in free agency. We got to bolster up this offense. And that starts with receiver.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll go back to it. Nick Caley, putting all my trust in him. Love the guy, head coach face right there.
Yeah,
he's got a strong nose. That's what I like.
Good nose on him.
Great nose on him. Big, if there's any big nose people here, me, big nose guys,
right?
Smartest guys in the room. So.
Yeah, that's where you keep all your knowledge.
That's where you keep all the extra brains, Yeah,
and the cocaine. But yeah, so like I said, receiver, very important to me. Obviously, grab a guard in the draft, grab a guard in free agency, and defensive tackle. I'd say we mainly look to the draft because it is a deep, deep class for defensive tackles.
Yes, I agree. As we get close, like we said, as we get closer to the actual draft, we'll know more, have a clearer vision. Who knows? We might trade down again, and it's all going to be moot.
Yeah.
Because last year we were talking about who to get in the first round, and then it didn't matter because we didn't have.
Yeah, I could definitely see Caserio trading down to get.
I don't know if he'll do it this year. I think it's very clear. Like we did it last year. Like, oh no, we don't need first rounders. We're already loaded with talent. Let's just come back a little bit, and we got Kamari, who's an absolute dog. But now it's this year. It's like it didn't end. The season didn't end the way we wanted to, obviously. So yeah, let's keep our first rounder. Let's try to get the best player available, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I just could. It depends on what Caserio wants to do. If he wants to trade for a guy like Cooper, if he wants to make some moves, some trades in this in the off season, I think he does because obviously you trade back. And look, the jump from like 25 to like 30 to 35 or even 45 in the draft, like we saw with Kamari, it doesn't make the biggest difference. Those once you get past like I'd say maybe 20, I think maybe 21, 22 in the draft, that's where the guys start to even out a little bit, in my opinion. And so I wouldn't mind it at all if we got out of the first round again. If that's the way Caserio wants to do, get more draft capital, use that to trade for a guy like Cooper, or just to get a bunch of dudes, I would love that.
I can't agree more, brother. I can't agree more. Yeah. We've been going a while. We should probably get out of here.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
I got Jersey Mike's in the other room.
I know, dude. It's
getting soggy, I think.
Yeah.
So I got a Mike's way. Obviously.
The oil and vinegar is gonna make the bread.
Yeah, and also I put a lot of hot cherry pepper relish on it, so it's. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm getting next time?
What's that?
Big City Wings. Houston's wing joint. Apollo's wing joint. Need me a Big City Wings trip because that place has the best beer, the best appetizers, the best wings, obviously, and the best service. Great ball watching environment. So head on over to Big City Wings. Those are location most likely next to you in your area. So drop on in and say Apollo sent you. So shout out Big City Wings.
If you go in and say Apollo sent you, they give you 100,000 free wings.
Yeah, they give you just like back in a Chevrolet.
Yeah,
Silverado.
They actually go to your house and just dump the frozen wings onto your front lawn, and they give you the recipe.
Beep.
Yeah, beep 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 beep. Brinks truck, kind of like Derek Stingley's.
It'll almost make you upset. You know what? It surely make you upset because all those wings on your front lawn.
Oh,
HOA, all over your ass. So actually, let's just get away.
Just go to the restaurant. Don't worry about that. Just don't mention us at all because that's the contract we made with them. But just go in and have a good time. All right, and also thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Lets us know that you like what we're doing. Make sure you follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you're calling it nowadays, at Apollo Texans and Apollo HOU on every social media platform to keep up with the Texans and obviously Houston sports as a whole. RIP Alex Bregman. That happened.
Yes. If you want Bregman stuff, Beyond the Diamond dropping soon.
Yeah.
Live show tomorrow to talk about it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But tune in and see what Beyond the Diamond's thoughts are on that.
Yeah. And all right, guys. Well, other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.
Watch Tech.